Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. The Premier League is back for midweek fixtures after a pretty lengthy break, it seems, of FA Cup games and non-football reasons entirely. The Premier League is back this week with a round of fixtures. There's going to be 9 games this week due to Chelsea's involvement in the Club World Cup. It means that there are 9 games this week, but there's still a lot of football, and of course, with the transfer window now closing, we are now getting down to the business end of the season. Game by game, it is fast approaching. So every game is now very much of high importance and high pressure. Before we get into the games and the analysis and the predictions, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and would be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get into the predictions. Kicking things off with Tuesday night's games, we first come to a possible relegation battle in prospect as Newcastle host Everton at St James's Park. It's a new era at Everton, of course, in the Premier League, with Frank Lampard now in that managerial role at Goodison Park. He got off to the perfect start in the FA Cup at the weekend against Brentford, but can he follow that up with a huge victory in this game, in this possible, like I say, relegation battle against the Magpies here? For Newcastle themselves, it was a big January transfer window for them. They're first in the new era of Newcastle themselves, with obviously under the new regime, the new ownership and all the money that they've got recently with this massive, seemingly like lottery win. It brings huge expectation of them to beat the drop in this instance. A win here will certainly help them in their fight against relegation, and I believe will properly drag Everton into this relegation battle, in my opinion. However, for a prediction in this game, either side could go on and win it, but I'm going to actually go for a draw here and say that this game will end 1-1 come the final whistle. Next up, we're at the London Stadium for West Ham's clash with Watford. Another team beginning life with a new manager in Watford, as they have got the early stages under Roy Hodgson, of course. They have actually seen the Hornets go on to play a game already this past weekend against Burnley. With both teams not in the FA Cup, they were able to play a rearranged fixture this weekend, and it was a 0-0 draw in that goalless relegation battle over the weekend, which actually went and saw Watford keep their first clean sheet in seemingly forever in the Premier League. We wait and see if this is the beginning to some sort of new manager bounce for the Hornets or not. As for West Ham, seemingly locked in a very big top 6 battle at the very least, but they'll be more determined to get back to winning ways in the Premier League, having suffered back-to-back defeats just before the break. I'm going to give the Hammers the edge in this game and say that David Moyes' side win this game by 2-1. Our next game of focus features Burnley as they take on Manchester United at Turf Moor. Big game for both sides, this one. Burnley obviously involved in a relegation battle, whilst United will be looking for a reaction from their FA Cup exit last Friday, and again also will want to maintain their top 4 status right now. Burnley always have the potential to be awkward opposition for any opponent, and their physicality could rock United here. But on paper, United and Ralph Rangnick's team should be winning this game against relegation candidates, and that's where my prediction is going to lie. I'm going to predict a Manchester United win and say that Rangnick's team will come out of this as 3-1 winners in this fixture. Next up, we move on to Wednesday's games, and first up, we're looking at Manchester City hosting Brentford at the Etihad. It's an interesting game, this one. We know that Brentford will be battling hard as they have done all season, and I expect them to be a tricky test for City here again. Remember, several weeks ago now, these two teams met before, and it was actually a very close 1-0 victory for City, in which Brentford did battle hard but ended up coming out with nothing in the end. I would expect a very sort of similar game here. But in saying that, City should be winning this game overall. They have the better quality, they have the better talent. They have too much, I believe, for Brentford to handle in the attacking third, and that is why I can see a very predictable outcome of a City win. But Brentford will battle hard and make it a tough test for City nonetheless. As much as I want to say that Brentford will actually get a good result here and actually take points off Manchester City for obvious reasons, I can only honestly see a City win in this game, and that is why I'm going for a 2-0 City win. Next up, it's a battle of the birds at Carrow Road as the Canaries take on the Eagles as Norwich host Crystal Palace. Norwich battling relegation, Palace looking to secure a solid mid-table finish. Norwich have won their last 3 games in all competitions, whilst Palace haven't won their last 3 Premier League games overall. Although Palace have been very solid for the majority of the season under Patrick Vieira, and Norwich will be boosted by being out of the relegation zone. It will be a tough fixture to call and a tricky game to predict, in all honesty. It's a game that really could go any which way, given form, given the season overall, given where both teams lie, the quality of their squads, and so on and so forth. So if I'm having to stick my neck out on the line and give a prediction, I think I'm just about going to give Palace the edge in this one, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 Palace victory. Next up, Southampton travel to London to take on Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. These two teams recently played each other at the end of last year, with the game ending 1-1 on that day. The Saints battle for a point, and you wonder if something similar will happen this time around when these two teams clash yet again, or whether Spurs' quality will shine through. It's going to be a big game, this one. Obviously for Spurs, they're another team that are involved in the big top 4 battle. A battle I think they're favourites to succeed in, but it does hinder on the consistency and the good form of both Harry Kane and Heung-min Son to get them to that point where they're playing Champions League football for next season. Whether they can maintain top form for the rest of the campaign remains to be seen, but this fixture could be where it all begins for them too in particular. I'm going to go for a Spurs win in this one. I think I'm going to say 3-1 Tottenham victory in this game. Next up, Steven Gerrard takes on Marcelo Bielsa as Aston Villa clash with Leeds at Villa Park. Villa have begun life under Steven Gerrard really well, and will be looking to continue their strong start under their new manager and with life together with a win here against Leeds. And especially considering their pretty strong showing in the January transfer window has also been taking place over the past few weeks, they will obviously have a lot more expectation going into the back end of this season. As for Leeds, they're still dealing with multiple issues and multiple injuries and stuff like that. That's out of their hands. I kind of feel for them a little bit here, but it does make it difficult to call because the Leeds have picked up a couple of good results in recent months despite all of these problems that they're facing, but they are still very inconsistent to say the least. A draw here is certainly possible, but I do think that Villa will take all 3 points in this game. I just think in attack they will have more quality and more of an attacking edge that Leeds just won't be able to handle, which is why I'm going to predict a 2-1 Villa victory. For our penultimate game on this list, we come to Molineux for our second to last fixture, which will feature Wolves taking on Arsenal. A very intriguing game in prospect on our hands here. Wolves have been very solid for the majority of this season, coming up against an Arsenal side who have only scored 1 goal in the last 5 games in all competitions and are yet to win a single game in 2022. And with both sides seemingly being involved in a race to finish in the top 4, this is a huge game for both sides, one that they could get one over on the other. It's going to be a big game on Thursday night for both sides, and I fear that with the underwhelming transfer window that has just been and gone for the Gunners, a bad result here will bring even more pressure onto the shoulders of one Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal manager, and a lot of our angry Arsenal fans will continue to voice their unfiltered opinions and thoughts. Unfortunately for them, I actually do see Wolves winning this one. I actually think that a home game for Wolves at Molineux against the Wolves side with the second best defensive record all season so far in this campaign is something that obviously Arsenal fans and Arsenal themselves don't really want to come up against right now, which is why I'm going for a 1-0 Wolves victory. And finally, in what I believe to be the main event of this round of fixtures, the biggest game of the midweek games, will at Anfield for Liverpool versus Leicester. Brendan Rodgers returning to Anfield once again. Last time these two teams met, it was actually Leicester who managed to beat the odds and beat Liverpool, so maybe that will be something for the Foxes to go off in this game. Whilst on the other hand, it may have a little bit more of an extra incentive for Liverpool to get revenge on Brendan Rodgers' side here. It will also be a Liverpool side that who may be welcoming back the likes of Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane back into the fold from, of course, their African Cup of Nations adventure, in which, of course, Mane returns victorious after Senegal's triumph in that competition, in that tournament, against, coincidentally, Mohamed Salah's Egypt in the final. So there'll be different reasons for extra incentives for both them players to get back and get firing on all cylinders once again for their club. Leicester will be looking for a huge response after being dumped out of the FA Cup at the hands of Nottingham Forest in a quite humiliating kind of way on Sunday, and will be a danger on the counter-attack, there's no doubt about it. But with the game being at Anfield against a Liverpool team welcoming back some big players into this squad, not just the likes of Salah and Mane, but also welcoming Luis Diaz into the fold, their newest acquisition from the transfer window that's just been and gone. And not only that, but also Harvey Elliott back with a bang on Sunday following his goal against Cardiff in the FA Cup. I can only see there being one winner, and that is going to be Liverpool in this game, I believe. I'm going for a 3-1 Liverpool win, and would also like to point out that I believe Sadio Mane will have a great game coming off the back of not only winning AFCON with Senegal, but also with the transfer of Luis Diaz, giving him a bit more of an incentive to obviously go on and improve his club form, because let's face it, Diaz is being seen as being Mane's competition going forward. So what better way to re-announce yourself back with a bang with your club than by having a great game in this fixture. Liverpool to win 3-1 here is what I'm going for. But of course, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, and of course, most of all, predictions of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of these games that are happening midweek? What are your own thoughts, your comments, opinions, and most of all, of course, your predictions on all the midweek games? Fantasy football managers as well. Who do you see having a good week? Who do you see having a bad week? Who are you putting into your side? Who are you taking out of your side? I'd love to know all of that kind of stuff as well. But most of all, of course, your predictions down below in the comment section, because I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out and enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. But things will always be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Premier League prediction show, and I will see you all again soon in another video.